funny. Anyway, why Japan punishes individuality. Did you heard about the new Holo presenter? I did. She was very cute. Anyway.
If you know already.
Why Japan punishes individuality. Let's... There? And let's have a look. I've seen a couple of these videos before. They're always fun, so yeah. Time for another one.
If you didn't know already from my previous videos, I am Malaysian. And being one of the many flavor of Asians, my people are known for many things. We're known for having 2 more extra twin towers than America does. Being skipped over when...
What a start to a video!
Many famous bands as they're doing an all-Asia tour, losing 2 airplanes in the span of 4 months from each other.
That did happen.
And my personal favorite, having an entire genre of white YouTubers acting surprised that your country has working plumbing and that you don't live in mud huts.
Stop! White women, stop!
But the one thing that pretty much all Asian societies share is the importance of community. And I know every culture says that they're community-oriented because they want to brag like they're the ones that invented the damn concept, but in Asian societies, collectivism is a very huge deal. And I don't mean the red banner flies high, comrade type collectivism, but the type where your entire sense of self-worth depends on how much you didn't inconvenience anyone that day. The idea of maintaining the community peace over your own well-being is a huge driving factor in a lot of Asian cultures, especially East Asian cultures like Japan. Watch any videos about foreigners living in Japan and you'll learn just how much they value the ability
actually,
for people to
speaking of Chris, there's like a drama between Chris and what's her name? Oriental Pearl. Let me find the tweet. Chris Broad. Are you YouTuber? I am. Chris Broad. Yes, there's like some drama between the two of them because she's been putting out videos where it's like, going to rough parts of Japan, showing off graffiti and sort of portraying it as if this is the entirety of Japan, and Chris is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop doing this. This is not productive. And she, I guess, put out a video 9 hours ago. Why Chris Broad attacked my channel. And like clockwork first, there it is. Fastest run time, the most fighter jet squadrons in a war zone. Someone who I've never met, whose name I only know as Oriental, she sure claims to know a lot about me. Turns out I'm a tyrant, a monster, an envious old fool who lives only to bask in magnificent glory. Yeah. Her general videos are like, white girl talks to Japanese person, white girl speaks Japanese, all that sort of stuff. She's been living in Japan as long as Chris, and I guess they don't particularly like each other because they make very different kinds of videos about Japan. Chris is very much just like showing like a relatively positive side. It's kind of rare that he shows anything bad, except there's been a couple of things like when him and Connor went around looking at love hotels. But like her side is usually relatively positive, but you also get the odd negative side of Japan video. And I guess they're not a fan of each other's approaches.
Living in Japan, and
anyway,
you'll learn just how much they value the ability for people to conform to the rules of their society. And you can actually see this somewhat in anime even. You know that trope where the MC defeats the big bad with the power of friendship? That's actually a good representation of how in Japanese narratives, the power comes from the group. It doesn't matter how much aura farming the MC does, victory is through unity and not the individual. You see this in anime like Fairy Tail, My Hero Academia, literally every sports anime ever, even in individual anime like Power Fantasy.
Wait, okay, yeah, you know what? I've said it before, but I do love his taste in anime. Holy shit, reincarnated as a sword. Amazing choice.
Guys, the super powerful MC always ends up helping the local community in some way. Remember, kids, the real Sigma male grind set is the one that helps your local community. But this power from the collective also comes with a price. Because if the power comes from the group, individualistic actions that jeopardize the group are incredibly frowned upon. For example, one of Japan's most renowned authors and writers, Natsume Soseki, laments Japanese conformity in his writings. He says that art can only be made when created from an individualistic point of view. But it's hard to create said art and be an artist in a society that will isolate you when you express that individualism. So I wanted to know just how right this point of view is and how it's reflected in anime. We hear so much of Japan's terrible work-life balance, yet people on the ground are expected to just deal with it? And the answer is a lot more depressing than you think.
Yeah, drinking is the Japanese drinking culture is it's something that I'd probably be able to keep it up for a month, but holy shit, the amount of times people go out to drink, I don't know how anyone handles it. I don't know how their livers survive.
So technically I've already talked about this in my high school video, which is by far the most viewed video on my channel. This video is on every form of steroids known to man and is single-handedly carrying my channel.
Hey.
Please go watch my other shit, people. So rather than talk about why Japan is obsessed with conformity, I'm gonna talk about the how. And one thread that we can follow is the idea of gaman. Gaman is essentially a form of Japanese stoicism that encourages people to persevere and endure. Since complaining, especially in a group setting, can affect a group's morale, a lot of Japanese people are encouraged to not complain since it's seen as a more noble thing to endure whatever is being thrown at you. And you actually do see this in a lot of anime. MCs working hard for their senpais or their mentors. They might chafe under the pressure and rules, but they learn to adapt and win in the name of them. Again, watch any sports or power fantasy anime. This is literally how the MC gets more powerful. It's like, this is for you, senpai. But like, little bro, senpai is working a dead-end corporate job right now. Senpai is very much not here. But while gaman in anime can be seen as this thing that toughens you up and strengthens your willpower, it can also be used to guilt trip you. It's very common for companies in Japan to do after-work gatherings at izakayas. It's very common for companies in Japan to do after.
It's the place. It's the sign. It is Kabukicho.
Or gatherings at izakayas or bars called nomikai. This is done mainly to deepen relationships in the team and strengthen employee bonds in the company. And
see, this wouldn't be that big of a deal if it was like, you know, Friday evening before the weekend. That would be fine. I could vibe with that. End of week drinks, that's a common thing here. Very common here.
That sounds good, right? A team that gets shit-faced drunk together stays together. But the thing is, turning down an invitation to a nomikai is incredibly taboo. While going to a nomikai is completely voluntary, it's basically a hidden expectation to go.
The same thing does exist in many ways in the West. You know, the mandatory pizza parties. It's entirely voluntary. However, if you don't go to it, well, look, John over here, he went to the pizza parties, so maybe John's gonna get the promotion. So, like, this is a thing that is sort of wormed its way into the West as well. It's nowhere near as much, and you can get away with it in a lot of cases, and in many cases, it is actually optional, but you are seeing that kind of... It's usually called, like, you know, the work family. Like, that, the work family is kind of the mentality that's wormed its way in. And it's that same sort of, hey, this is voluntary, but you wouldn't just leave your family behind, would you? Like, your family's inviting you somewhere. You have to come.
By not going to a nomikai, some bosses see this as a lack of commitment to the team and might even consider passing you over for a promotion because you don't seem to gel well with others. So, rather than stand out and jeopardize the group dynamics, a lot of Japanese salarymen put on a brave face and persevere through a night of socializing and drinking when they might not have even wanted to go anyway. Which is how you get the
work families are kind of scam. I very much say no to actual family sometimes. Yeah, see, the problem is they want to, like, create this family concept, but don't want it to actually act like family. The thing is, it's a work family until they want to fire you. Then we don't know you. Who is this man? I've never met you before.
Iconic photos of Japanese salarymen blackout drunk sleeping on the train. As Toivonen et al. Says in their paper, quote, individuals are strongly motivated to adjust the self to the situation, to better maintain social harmony, and to affirm one's independence with others and not for themselves. And these nomikai extend late into the night sometimes, cutting into the already limited personal time that a lot of Japanese salarymen just don't have. But they can't complain, because complaining might disrupt the morale of the team. And if the team's morale is affected by your complaint, that's on you. So they silently endure. Gaman. But there is a silver lining, though. Nomikai culture does seem to be drying up, especially since COVID, with a lot of younger Japanese workers confessing that they hate the idea of mandatory drinking. But while things are changing professionally...
Yeah, drinking just around the world is kind of dropping. Let me see if I can find a good chart. Oh, alcohol consumption by... Let me show you Australia. What is this chart? Is this by age group? Over time. That's 2016. Okay, here is a chart. Here's a chart. Let me make this one smaller. There's like a general trend downwards of alcohol consumption. I don't know what the fuck's happened with the women since 2019 though. They've been partying a bit. Here's another chart. So there is a general lower consumption of alcohol overall. Beer has been hit the fucking hardest. The trend is basically entirely beer. Wine's gone up, and spirits, and cider went up as well. This doesn't have, like... There are some pre-mix... I know pre-mixed drinks have gone up a lot as well. Australia... Pre-mix alcohol... Australia over time. Yeah, here we go. 2022, 2023. Like, beer, regular strength beer. Beer is like fucking 14 to 17. You know, this is an Australian chart when it includes 14 to 17-year-old drinking. Majority of the majority of the premix consumption, 14 to 17-year-old women. What are they drinking, you might ask? Let me show you what they're drinking. That's hilarious. I love that that's included. But yeah, like, premixes are going up. Beer is through the fucking floor. No one gives a shit about beer. Men still drink beer because they're kind of pressured into it, but less so now. I've never found a beer I like. I refuse to, like, just drink it because people tell me to drink it. I'll drink anything else. Now, this is what the 14 to 17-year-old girls are drinking. Vodka Cruiser. Now, how would I know that this is what they're drinking? because I had a sister who was drinking vodka cruises and her friends who were drinking vodka cruises. Anyway, back to the video. I only started drinking after I entered college. I think my first drink was around 14. I still have a sister. She's 2 years younger than me, so she's 25 now.
Gaman still plays a huge part in Japan's social etiquette. I mean, this is the same culture where saying no is the worst thing that you can do. But in a world where patience is prized, visibility
You're 27?
can
I am
feel
27.
like a mistake. So the thing is, even though East Asian and Southeast Asian culture have their major differences, we do even though East Asian and Southeast
The Jonka one. The Jonka
Asian
one.
culture
Okay.
have their major differences. We do share some
sorry,
Asian
I
and
wanna
Southeast
see that
Asian
one.
culture have their major
Average Southeast Asian enjoyer. Beautiful buildings. I see the Jollibee back there. Average East Asian fan. Yup.
differences. We do share some things societally. I can't say the same about our cities though. Tokyo makes Kuala Lumpur look like a ghetto. I had to fight off a homeless person once walking through here. But the
I
one
did
thing
that
that's
once.
prevalent across a lot of Asian cultures is the idea that you need to be seen but not heard, that you can't stand out too much. There's even a cultural saying in Japan about this, because of course there is. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. It's the idea that it's better to keep your head down rather than stand out. Group harmony and unity is a really important thing in Asian societies, but by standing out, you might bring unwanted attention.
I feel like we've had this conversation before. No, there is not. But considering how close Southeast Asia is, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there's like an expansion into Australia. That would be cool. Unless there is, wait. Oh wait, no. They are, yeah, okay, take back what I said. They are planning to expand into Australia. Supposedly there's supposed to be a Jollibee in Sydney by the end of the year. So, there you go. Soon, probably.
Into your group, and by extension, cause a lot of stress and unwanted pressure. So, for the good of many, better for you to just conform and put your head down. And in Japan, they really want you to put your head
In
down.
Sydney or
In 2017, a girl
Okay,
actually
How did you manage to spell Melbourne that badly? No, I'm in South Australia, so my capital is Adelaide. Fucking Radelaide, brother.
sued her high school in Osaka. Really want you to put your head down. In 2017, a girl actually sued her high school in Osaka Prefecture because they were forcing her to dye her naturally dark brown hair black. And for some reason, the school would do a self-report by admitting that they would even force foreign exchange students to dye their hair black for some reason. And while a lot of schools in Japan are actually reevaluating and changing some of their more archaic rules, there are some issues they aren't willing to budge on. Some schools still require students to submit younger photos of themselves to prove the natural color of their hair. And when asked why these schools aren't willing to change this, Yuji Tsunaga, a vice president of an anti-bullying nonprofit in Japan, said, quote, "Hair is one of the easiest ways to control and enforce proper student behavior. Many teachers are still worried that if they completely get rid of guidelines restricting students, they'll lose all control." I don't really know how a slightly dark brown ponytail will cause the complete upending of...
I think it's reasonable to ban bright hair dyes. I think that's fine. But if we're talking about a natural hair color, that's stupid. Like, I can totally understand saying, you know, no blue hair, no green hair. Sure, fine, whatever. But, like, if your hair's brown, or you're, you know, you're an exchange student and you have blonde hair, or you're ginger, like...
society. But hey man, what do I know?
Oh,
And
I know you have mixed
it's
parents.
not even gender specific. These same schools have plenty of weird rules and regulations aimed towards...
What? No sunblock? What? So okay, some of these I can understand. Set underwear color. I'm sorry. Who's checking that one? Who's checking that one? Sunblocks are cosmetic. This is a thing where in Australia it would never work because we have really high rates of skin cancer. No shaping of eyebrows. This is just makeup stuff. No hairstyling. That's just makeup stuff. Skirt length. Okay, sure. Hairstyles. Okay. Rules on hair length. I know a lot of people deal with this. Students must eat entire lunch to go to recess. This would just lead to people who don't eat much just not bringing much food. No romantic relationships. Yeah, good luck on that one.
Or it's male student.
Wait, bags and uniforms must be new, not hand-me-downs. This has got to be a private school. Surely. Surely.
It's not about controlling any one gender, it's about making sure that these students conform to what Japanese society expects them to be. They listen to their bosses, they go through the same systems that everyone else will go through, all while not complaining and conforming to the rules at hand. And any nails that do stand out will be hammered down. And anime does show this. A lot. Literally every isekai storyline starts with the MC disgruntled with where they are in life. They hate their job, they feel undervalued and stressed, they can't say anything because hierarchy and group harmony is important, so they suffer in silence. Next thing you know, they're transported to another world where only they have the most OP ability and they're the Giga Chad with a harem of women adoring them. Their individuality is affirmed in a system where they can be unique,
series.
and
What a
the
fucking good
collective
series.
doesn't matter. They can be themselves at the cost of no one else. Because worse than standing out in Japan is you standing out and it affecting other people. I mean, there's even an isekai anime where a dude works for a demon king because he offers better benefits than his old company. Only the Japanese.
Yeah, that is what. I'm pretty sure at the start of the series, the demon lord summons him, and he's like, "You're not actually forced to be here. If you don't want to work here, you can just go back. That's fine. That's totally fine." But he's like, you actually offer better pay. You offer better holiday rates. You drive a hard bargain. I will be the assistant to the demon lord.
His mind can comprehend going to a fantasy world and still choosing to work in an office. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to feel about Japan as a country. I'm only here to explore. Even my own country.
It's probably like Salaryman in Another World. Let me see. Salaryman in Another World. Let me guess. Is that the name? I think that actually was the name. Close enough. A headhunted to another world from Salaryman to Big Four. There you go. That's the series. I dropped it. It wasn't great, but oh god,
Malaysia has its own cultural quirks. Over here, we have a concept called menjaga aimuke, where we're not allowed to call someone out, especially if that someone is older than you, on the chance that they might lose face amongst other people. Even if calling them out means that you protect them from a dumb decision they're making, or you just want to help them. If it makes things more awkward for them, protect them from a dumb decision they're
what the fuck happened to your microphone?
making, or you just want to help them. If it makes things more awkward for them, you are highly discouraged from saying anything. And that's kind of why I made
your
this
mic
video.
break?
It's easy to criticize Japan as a country where societally everything
I don't know why
seems
we
to
haven't
be
done these
off,
Sora
that
videos,
they're
yeah.
emotionally repressed, overworked, and conformist to a fault. And while stereotypes are
I haven't
always
watched Sora the
based
Troll
on
in a while.
small amount of truths, really small, Japan isn't some strange outlier. It's just a more extreme version of something that you see across a lot of Asian societies. In a paper studying hikikomoris, or Japanese shut-ins, they found that a lot of tendencies associated with depression
We had our 1 second of Mushoku Tensei. That justifies the thumbnail.
manifest in the
Half a
shut-ins
second.
because they feel like they're going against what society wants them to be. That being a part of the collective is so ingrained in them that they start to genuinely feel sad if they feel like they aren't following the preset rules. Even at moments where
they should be thinking about themselves, they are still worried about affecting the group. And that's what I mean by this
How's
video
the mic
isn't
getting
about dunking
worse?
on Japan. It's about understanding how culture can quietly teach us to suffer in silence. How the most effective cages are the ones we all share. That the most limiting thing are the self-imposed limits we choose for ourselves. Everything in Japan is done in the name of the greater good. Holding yourself back, holding what you say, speaking in turn, speaking when spoken to. You are one piece of many in the long road to harmony. You must do your part. You owe it to the people around you. It is the collective effort of everyone that has brought you here to continue the great work. That no cog can be more important than the other because everyone is contributing. And if everyone is contributing, then you don't have the right to make things more difficult. And while harmony is something that every culture should strive for, in a world where standing out means standing alone, maybe harmony isn't always peace.
That was good. That was good. I like that. As I said, some of this, like, really bad work-life balance stuff is managing to escape Asia. It's weird because there's this, like, rising movement of people who want a 4-day work week. But at the same time, you're seeing this rise of, I guess, businesses trying to, like, bring you in. It was really bad, like, pre-COVID. When, like, Google, for example. Google would offer, like, you know, you'd have dinner, and there'd be, like, an after party, and there'd be all this stuff, and it was sort of encouraging you to stay at the office as long as possible. COVID kind of put, a hold on a lot of that stuff. But it was getting really bad for big tech companies especially.